What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So it's new bike day, super exciting. We all love new bike day, don't we? It's even better because you might have just caught a glimpse there. It's actually a new bike. You probably already know what it is based off the thumbnail and the title. But either way, new bike day, super excited. It is a bike that I did purchase with my own money, bought from Wally World. And as the title states, I think that this is the best Wally World big box bike that you can buy. Now there is a caveat to that. And the caveat to me is this bike, which is the Schwinn Taff. I think that it's the best bike because out of all the Walmarts that I've been to, including some Targets, just because I know that they've sold big box bikes and I don't know what the limitations are, which equates to around 10 different stores. This is the only one that I've been able to find that I consider a high quality bike. And now I do consider that to be in a category of hardtails, because I do know that Mongoose, there are some nice bikes out there that definitely can fit in there as far as the best bike from the big box stores. Now, that being said, why I think that this being the best bike is that out of those 10 stores that I've been to, it's the only one that I've been able to actually find and buy off the showroom floor. I found it at multiple different Wally Worlds, and I've yet to find anything else. And the one that I think that would outdo it is the Schwinn Axum. So that's my big caveat to it, is that of the bikes that you could buy off the showroom floor with the possibility of going into Walmart and actually buying the bike, the Schwinn Taff. So if I could have found the Axum, I probably would have bought it, but ended up finding the Schwinn Taff. As I'm sure most of you have already seen from like channels like Kev Central, who I've watched pretty rigorously over the months, I guess you should say. He actually really likes this bike. He doesn't like some of the frame geometry, so that changes it for him. But what I aim to do here, especially on this channel with stuff like that, is not necessarily compete against Kev in any manner of it. I really just want to add on to what he's doing. I want to provide more insight to the bike from just another perspective. For me and my buddies, when we go to purchase things, we like to do some research and reviews on them. And yeah, can we find some YouTube channels about people talking about XY item? Sure. Are they super reputable? For sure. But that doesn't stop me from ever watching other reviews just to get more insight from somebody else. So somebody else who's riding it, wearing it, whether that be like a helmet or gear or like a GoPro, a bike, I want to just kind of get some more insight. So what I aim to do here is add to what people like Kev Central are doing and add you a different insight. So for a little extra context, I'm 6'2", 215 pounds. I don't know what Kev Central weighs or how tall he is, but maybe other people are interested in these types of bikes, and coming from somebody like myself who's a little bit bigger may help sway your position on the bike. So I hope that we can do that today. Now let's go ahead and get into the bike. So again, Schwinn Taff, it's a 29 by 2.25. It's got WTB Starlight tires, so it does actually have a name brand tire on it, which is absolutely fantastic. So again, we're kind of looking at why I think that this is the best bike that you can buy from Wally World. Obviously with those caveats. So the frame design, absolutely amazing. I think it looks super cool. Another company that I've seen do like a hump like that is Canyon. I haven't really looked around to see who's doing that, but that's just one that I've recently saw and I was like, oh, see, another company's doing it. Okay, so 29er, tubeless ready. It's got so another big thing for it's going to be having that it's got disc brakes on it. Now a lot of bikes are moving to disc brakes, so that's nice, but when it comes to Walmart bikes, not all of them are disc brakes yet. These are hydraulic, or not hydraulic, they are mechanical, so that is a disadvantage, but it does mean that it's at least set up to add hydraulic brakes in there. Following that, a couple of really big things that really set apart what makes a good big box bike to be an upgradable bike if you're going to get into mountain biking. So first and foremost, tapered head tube. That is huge. The reason that that's so big is that you can now upgrade your fork, which is one of the biggest things that hold back so many of these bikes is the suspension. It just being that it's heavy, it's usually a spring. Now this being a tapered head tube means that you can upgrade to like a nice fork, like a RockShox or a Fox shock, and it's going to be able to take so many more of the modern forks, which just means you're going to really change the rideability of this bike. You're going to change the weight of this bike. You're going to make it so that this bike becomes something that you can actually ride long term, and not just for like a season, like, hey, I'm getting into mountain biking, where should I start? Cool, this is an entry level bike that's less than $500. You can get in and you're like, hey, you know what, I actually really freaking like mountain biking, but I only have the Schwinn and I'm on a limited budget. What can I do? Well, great thing you bought the Schwinn Taff, because now you've got this tapered head tube. One of the first things I would do if you're actually ready to get into mountain biking and really, upgrade your experience and just make yourself a better rider, is upgrade that fork. And now you can. So following that, staying in the kind of cockpit area, it does come with quad pins, quad bolts, 4 bolts, however you want to talk about it, rather than a more traditional big box 2-bolt steering tube, or SEM, sorry. And so that just means that from the get-go, you just know that you're going to be a little bit more secure when you're riding this bike. Now, it doesn't mean it can't be upgraded or shouldn't be upgraded. I for sure want to upgrade mine, but the fact that it's standard means, again, if you're just getting into mountain biking, that is a great starting point. You don't necessarily have to worry about upgrading this right away, versus some of the other bikes, like a Huffy, for instance, comes with more of a standard 2-bolt, which someone of my stature, being 6'2" and 215 pounds, I would not feel comfortable with that, and I would upgrade it. So this being right there for standard, fantastic. Following that, look at this. You can probably already tell from the video, but super wide handlebars. I don't know the exact dimension on it. I want to say somewhere in probably the realm of like 780 millimeter, which is a super wide bar. Fantastic for someone who's my height, and fits this frame really well, and it's more modern to go with the bike. So again, as far as the headset and everything goes, like, I wouldn't even be my first area of upgrade, because it's already so sturdy as it is. So following that, the next big thing that really makes things fantastic for this is that it's got a Pro Rush 8-speed 1x8 drivetrain. Now, traditionally, most people on these bigger name brand bikes, they're going with 1x10 all the way up to 1x12. But the fact that this has already been converted to a 1x, and this Pro Rush system actually has a clutch on it, that's a fantastic start. So, like, again, drivetrain wise, I wouldn't even really mess with that to start with. I mean, first and foremost, when it comes to this bike, the first thing that I would jump to, depending upon your finances, is probably upgrading your brakes, because mechanical brakes can be pretty rough depending on the trails that you're going. Like, if you're just riding where I'm at, which is just kind of right now, just doing some test riding on some back trails that has some small little dirt trails with not really any downhill or anything like that, it should be totally fine. But if you were to go onto some actual trails, even into like a blue trail, I don't know how comfortable I'd feel with mechanical brakes that just don't have the best stopping power. So that's where I'd first start, because that's a cheaper option. Following that, again, depending on your money, I would upgrade your fork. It's going to make a huge difference in how enjoyable the ride's going to be, and again, make the bike just a little bit more nimble. But again, from a base level bike, the reason I think that this bike is just so freaking amazing is just modern Geo, 1x, amazing cockpit level, 29-inch wheels. Like I said, you can just slowly upgrade this bike depending on your budget, and it'll just become a fantastic bike that you can ride for a couple of seasons without having to go, man, I just spent, whatever, $400 on this bike, and then now I'm ready after a season to like actually upgrade, and I just don't have that budget. Instead, you can take over the season and slowly upgrade this bike and just make it better. One of the super cheap upgrades you could do is upgrade these pedals. For me, they're going to be one of the first things to go, because I mean, look at that. They barely fit my foot. They have like no nubs on here, and so there's like just no traction on them. So again, you start anywhere from realistically like $20 all the way up to like $150, and that's just on you. I don't know what you would want to do. You get yourself a nice set of pedals, and that could completely already change the atmosphere of the bike. And so it's just the small things like that that really make a big difference. So let's go ahead and ride this baby. Hope that this information helps, and if you guys have any questions, please feel free to mention anything down in the comments, and we'll see what we can do. But other than that, absolutely beautiful bike, and can't wait to kind of see where things go.